Hey everyone, Nia here with audio tips for dance teachers. You're probably wondering, what authority do I have to speak about audio? I have worked alongside a lot of musicians and DJs over the years, and I'm related to people that produce their own music. So through experience and asking a lot of questions in these situations, I picked up a lot of information. And some of this information is applicable to you. And I'd like to share it with you. In your dance studio, if you're setting up the audio, you want to make sure you have good quality of everything. Here's what you're going to need: speakers, a receiver or mixer, cords, and adapters. Speakers are the thing that the sound comes out of. We can all recognize what a speaker looks like. What's the difference between a receiver and a mixer? A receiver tends to go with older speakers, and you can imagine that they have speaker wires, okay? And legit, the wire, the metal wire, you can plug it into the receiver because it's receiving the sound. And sometimes it has a place where you can like screw in the metal, or you can pull down a flap and then put the metal part of the wire in, close it, it's good to go. Here's what an example mixer looks like. And the reason why they call it a mixer is because it has multiple channels in which you can plug different things into. This is what you'll plug the speakers into. From your receiver or mixer, you'll need a cord to plug your device. So a lot of us teach off of our phones. You're going to need a cord that's called 3.5 millimeter. Now, some people call these auxiliary cords. You have the same, they look the same on both ends, and you can plug it audio into your mixer or receiver, and then plug it into your device. Now, some receivers or mixers require you to get a different cord, and you'll recognize it because it has red and white, two little wires off of each other. They're right next to each other, and this is called an RCA cord. So you'll plug the red and the white into your receiver or mixer, and then the other end of it will look like the auxiliary aux, AUX, that will go into your phone or laptop or whatever you teach off of. Now, if you're an iPhone user, they don't have that input anymore. They used to. iPods and iPhones used to have where you can plug in the 35 millimeter, but now you'll need to get an adapter. So it's really nice to have these adapters, or commonly known as the dongle, for your staff and for yourself on hand. They're very small and easy to lose though. So maybe take a piece of electrical tape and put it around the dongle and write down, Studio 1 or whichever room it belongs in, just to make sure that it stays there and nobody accidentally takes it home. Here's another audio tip I'd like all you dance teachers to know. Before unplugging your device, be sure the volume on your receiver or mixer is all the way down. Have you ever pulled out the cord from your device and it makes that popping sound in the speakers? Those are your speakers slowly dying. You don't want to contribute to that. Also, if you're the studio owner, you want to encourage your staff to do the same so that you do not have to reinvest in buying new speakers every so often. You want the ones you have to last. They can be very expensive. So be sure that the main volume on your receiver or mixer is all the way down, low, low, low. And then you can unplug your device. And then it won't have the popping sound. Also, be sure that your volume is all the way down before you plug in a new device. So I know I switch rooms sometimes with my coworkers, and we all make sure that the volume is down when we leave So then the next person won't experience the popping sound when they come in that studio next.
All right, dance teachers, another thing I'd like to talk about, the difference between types of audio files. So you have MP3s or M4As, which are smaller files. So imagine them as smaller marbles and you're putting them all in a jar. You can fit more in a jar. However, it comes at a risk. You're going to lose a little bit of quality. The more you shrink a music file, the less quality it's going to have when you play it on a large sound system. For instance, in your studio, or even more so in an auditorium or in a theater. A more ideal music file type would be a lossless file. So for instance, a WAV file, W-A-V. Those are larger files, so you cannot fit as many marbles into the jar or wherever you save your music files. However, when you play it on a bigger sound system, it's going to sound optimal. Usually it's only the trained ears that can sense these differences. However, if you go to a dance competition and you're there all weekend, I'm talking 12-hour days, and you're listening to a bunch of MP3s all day long, you might get a headache. I know I have. And there is a reason for that. It's because you're listening to things not at optimal quality. All right, this next tip for you may sound a little bit hypocritical coming from me. I used to work in industries such as clubs around DJs, and I have really loud hobbies. For instance, I was a drummer at one point in my life, so a lot of my hobbies are very loud. However, I'd like this advice to be preventative for you. Please remember to protect your hearing as dance teachers. I mean, we are surrounded by music, and a lot of us, music is very important to us, not only in our industry, but for our souls. So protect your hearing. Try not to play your music too loud. Not only are you protecting your hearing, but you're protecting your students' hearing. None of us want to grow up and end up with tinnitus or tinnitus, the constant ringing in our ears. That is only preventable by not listening to your music completely blasting, or wearing earplugs to places like dance competitions. You really want to do the preventative aspects. And honestly, I'm saying this for myself as well. And I hope that we can all kind of do that together. There is an app, of course there's an app for everything that you can use to measure the decibels of whatever you're listening to. It's called Decibel X, and you can measure the decibels of your surroundings. And according to a Yale University decibel chart, the level at which sustained exposure may result in hearing loss is between 80 to 90 decibels. A vacuum cleaner is at about 75 decibels. To give you some perspective on the range, a whisper is about 25 decibels. So just think about that as you're playing your music in your classroom, around yourself and your students, and try to keep it under 80 decibels. Audio trends I've noticed over the years of teaching. I remember when my dance teachers would teach off of records, vinyls, and we had record players, and then came in cassettes, and then CDs, and then now a lot of it is, using a music playing program off of your phone or a laptop, and you can create your own playlists. Now it's services such as Spotify or Apple Music that is subscription based. So really explore what is right for you, but then also what's available in your studios. So for instance, do they even have CD players? Dance teachers, you might need to adjust how you teach. So for instance, maybe teaching off of a playlist off of your laptop or your phone or an MP3 player, iPod. Bluetooth speakers, those are quite interesting nowadays. It's like you allow your phone to find the speakers, and it happens invisibly by doing a little setting. So for instance, on an iPhone, you have to make sure that that is blue. If it's like this, it's not looking for any Bluetooth speakers around me. If it's on, it can find the Bluetooth speakers, and then you can connect to them and not even have a cord attached. You can bring your phone all over the room and stay mobile in that sense with a Bluetooth speaker. I even saw my friend, colleague, she kept looking at her watch. And I said, my goodness, why does she keep checking the time? It's not. She was Bluetooth connected to the speaker in the studio and was teaching off of her smartwatch. So she was pressing play and pause on her watch. I really do find this all very interesting. So no matter what age you are, no matter how many years you've been teaching dance, it is quite fascinating to see the trends of how we provide music in our classes just kind of evolve and change. And just remember to stay open-minded and flexible and go with the flow. Try to learn as much as you can, and it will help you stay positive, stay relevant, and stay comfortable with whatever circumstances you are provided.